You know, a lot of what was said is no different in America. But what's different in America is its varying degrees of what the solutions may be. You know, we have our unemployment's a little high in our country now, but nothing compared to what's going on in other nations. So some of these things really hit my heart as I heard people speaking of the real troubles going on in their country. That being said, focusing on what the issues are that are similar. Issues, when you see that word in American English, has a negative connotation. You know, if you say, oh, we have some issues here, my reaction is to be, oh my gosh, what's the problem? Issues, I know we mean out of innocence of like, here's what's a case, here's the problem, but in a mild definition. So that being said, the issues we're facing with our youth and our young adults in our country are this constant enabling of individualism. This constant, we embrace the person as an individual. Let me take it a step further. I'm a parent of 3 boys. I don't parent each of them the same. I have to parent them individually simultaneously. I have to parent them each to their personality at the same time. That's really, really hard. So you can imagine when somebody says, how are you going to help the youth and young adults of our country? My reaction is, well, we've grown this tree to be so individual as the rest of the forest. I have to now try to do that simultaneously. So instead of trying to worry about so much the individual of the thousands and thousands of young people in our country, we focus more on like what are the major issues that are in a common factor. One of them is the education level. A lot of Greek Americans are brought up in what we coined the term yayology, which is like things our yaya taught us that aren't necessarily true. Either out of passing down the tradition in America, it got diluted a little bit and certain things were made up because they sounded good. So when I went to seminary later in life, when I'd raise my hand and answer the question in class, a lot of time I'd get laughed at because it was wrong. Because, well, that's what my yaya taught me. Well, unfortunately, that's incorrect. Here's what we believe is orthodox. So one approach that we take in our office is that we need to focus on delivering Orthodoxy 101 kind of information, or basic Orthodox education, to our youth and young adults. Well, where are they? Where are they going to pay attention to our information that we have to offer? Well, it's, they're on their iPhones, they're on their cell phones, they're constantly glued, and that stereotype is very real. The American young adults and youth are very much on their phones, and so am I. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm very much in the face of that thing. So we tailored a lot of resources and solutions to offer Orthodoxy 101 in 2 3-minute segment videos on YouTube just for that purpose. And we started a series called Be the Bee, which is on YouTube, and that is playing off of Elder Paisios' way of teaching to love your neighbor by being the bee and not the fly. And the object is, we're not focusing on the negative, we're not focusing on the issues, we're focusing on just being positive. And with that focus on being positive, every Thursday we put out a new lesson that's under 4 minutes on YouTube, delivered by a guy in my office who's a layperson. And they're being taught Orthodoxy 101 while learning something fun and very quick and where they're at, right there on their iPhone. And it has skyrocketed in popularity. In fact, we're getting them from other countries. We're getting fan mail, from Australia, from New Zealand. People are emailing us all over the world. And that's really working. Now, where I worry is, like the nice gentleman said from Australia, what about liturgy though? Is it bringing them into liturgy? I don't know, but at least they're getting the education, because we too run into that same problem. It's not, we're trying to answer to their needs and what they want, their individualism and their creativity, et cetera, but what's getting them in the church? Hopefully with a little education, baby steps. But I think that just we've come to gather with a lot of research in our country with our young adults, et cetera, is that they want it to be taught the real faith. They don't want anything watered down. They don't want anything sugar-coated. They want to do service projects. They want to help the poor. Because in our church when I was a kid, it was if you didn't want to be a priest or you didn't want to be a president of your parish, then what do? Well, I just don't go. Not only that, but half of the language I don't really understand. Well, I'm just going to stand there because my mom's making me. But now we're making the church very real to them. We're putting our faith into action. You know, we're teaching them how, look, as an Orthodox youth group, we can go service our community. And the last thing I'll offer is that summer camps have really grown in our country. And every metropolis in the Archdiocese, we have all these summer camps. I didn't like church growing up, but I loved camp. And I went on to work camps in my young adult life as a counselor, and that was my church. And the education I learned in camps helped me to understand my faith. Before I took this position, I was director of Ionian Village. It's a summer camp in Greece. And nothing is more tangible than seeing faith unexplained blossom and the Holy Spirit grow in young adults at a camp setting. And what we're trying to help understand is, well, how can I make that zeal that they learn, young adult counselors and campers alike, into their parish? Well, if we stop worrying about the individualism and worrying about what it is that makes everybody happy at camp, is the simple things: safe learning environment, loving, trusting people, Christ at the center of everything, prayer at the center of everything, communion, liturgy, everything, no distractions, no cell phones, only living orthodoxy. That's what we need to try to do in our communities. Now that's difficult because people are working. They're dropping their kids off at their youth meetings after a soccer practice. The distractions are there. Safe learning environment is tough because maybe some of our youth workers are being too judgmental. Or maybe they're saying, kids, you shouldn't be smoking, but they're smoking right in front of them. You know, we're in this together, everyone. I'm a priest. You're a layperson. It doesn't matter. To a child, we're equal. Just as much as you may be doing damage control for me, sometimes I have to do damage control for you. And I mean that lovingly. Please don't misunderstand me. Meaning, we can't be hypocritical. We have to live our faith just like we expect them to. And how can they understand it if they don't see us living it to the best we can? So I think by trying to create this camp environment in our parishes the best we can, and showing them that they are loved, I think that's another step in the right direction. But either way, the solutions that we're trying to provide show focus on the positive, show that you're being loved, and that you're learning orthodoxy whether you realize it or not, because these resources our office provides are definitely a safe learning environment. Thank you.